a wonderful partnership. And for myself, I've been here just under a year, so I'm approaching that year mark. And I'm actually a native New Yorker who spent about 20 years in Miami, and about 5 years ago moved to the area, which I love. So grateful to be part of Suburban, and I'm really looking forward to this virtual cooking demonstration, which probably is one of my first to do it virtually, as opposed to having live people right in front actually tasting food. But you know what, these are kind of different times, so but we are certainly excited. So I'm going to pass on to Michelle to introduce herself, and then we'll get started.
Hi everyone, I'm Michelle Young, the Clinical Nutrition Manager here at Suburban Hospital. I've been here since December. I'm originally from Lake Charles, Louisiana, and I'm a military spouse, and me and my husband are so excited to be here in the area. And I'm very passionate to hear about the cause that we are doing this demonstration for today. It's very dear to my heart. I've worked with many nonprofits, and this is just a great event. Thank you.
And this is Kate. Before I pass it over to Amy, I'd just like to make one note that I did say we'll do questions and answers using the chat feature. I did mean use the Q&A feature. That is a little bit more streamlined for our purposes, so please just take notes. And with that, I am going to allow Amy to share her screen and unmute.
Thank you, Kate, and thank you to everyone who is joining us. First of all, many, many thanks to Suburban for hosting this event as part of our 30 days of dinners, and for inviting me to come for a few minutes and join in. I would say, as much as Chef Mike had said that this may be the first virtual cooking demonstration, I have been on many Zoom presentations, but not too many will make me hungry by the end. This one likely will. So thank you to Suburban. You have really been such a tremendous and wonderful partner, and thank you for the opportunity to allow those who are joining us tonight to learn a little bit more about A Wider Circle. Many of you are probably aware of us. We've been around for close to 20 years. Our headquarters are just down the street in Silver Spring, and our mission is really about eradicating poverty. We look at on-the-ground services and programs, as well as looking at large-scale solutions. As many of you know, the U.S. spends more than $1 trillion on poverty. There are lots of programs and benefits, and yet the number of people continue to grow, especially at this time of coronavirus. The level of need, the number of people who have been laid off, unemployed, or who are now struggling just continues to grow. And so the need for organizations such as A Wider Circle are all the more critical at this time. A Wider Circle, through our 3 locations, headquarters in Silver Spring and 2 locations in DC, is committed to creating impactful and outcomes-based programs. We seek to walk alongside those we serve. We consider each person who comes into our space our guest, and we really want to understand all of the issues, all of the challenges, and all of the questions that they may have, and work with them as a whole person, setting up a new model of social service and collaboration. But that is only possible when we can collaborate with an array of partners from across the community, such as Suburban Hospital. And so we are very grateful to have volunteers and job coaches and clothing drives and other donations and donation drives that Suburban and its partners have been able to do. Just as a quick thing, many of you may be well aware of our furniture program, which is probably the most well known, and that is out of our Silver Spring office. But we also have 3 other realms of our work: development, neighborhood partnerships, which includes our 2 offices in DC, and systemic change, which looks at providing opportunities through data and an interactive website where anyone who would like to engage in eradicating poverty can go on and learn more. We have a large-scale platform that will launch in September that will allow folks to engage, whether they're an individual or part of a large company, in change and in creating impact for our neighbors in need. So I didn't want to spend too much time or delay kind of the wonderful cooking demonstration that is about to happen. I just want to say thank you again. I very much appreciate you hosting this event on our behalf. On the donations, June happens to be our matching gifts month, and so it's a great opportunity to have dinner parties where people learn more about us. But before I close off, I just wanted to see if there were any questions or concerns or things that people would like to learn more about. I did put on the front slide, and I can certainly put it in the chat or Q&A. My contact details if anyone has any questions or if anyone would like to learn more.
All right, thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Everyone has been emailed their recipes to follow along with Chef, and please use the Q&A feature, and we will have Michelle chiming in with some good health information, nutrition information as we proceed with our cooking demonstration. So with that, Chef.
Okay, welcome again. You know, there are a few things I want to accomplish for the next hour. Is number one, I want you to hopefully take away a new technique, maybe a shopping tip, learning something that you haven't before. I'm going to talk a lot about the food. Michelle's going to kind of help on why the food is actually good for you. And as many questions as you can, please ask away. You know, this is kind of a platform to do that. I'll be happy to answer. You know, number one, you know, what's the topic today? You know, we are talking about food that boost your immunity. And I think the timing of it is just precious. You know, why is it even important? You know, food that we eat definitely can change and help fighting bacteria and viruses. I think that goes without saying. And, you know, why is that important? You know, and how do you boost yourself? I mean, certainly we're going to go through recipes, which hopefully you're going to follow along with me. And at the same time, you know, how else can you do it besides just eating better? So, one, exercise. Now, I guess that goes always without saying. Walk, run, yoga, whatever, just move somehow. It's really nice out. Take a walk on the beach. Social distance yourself, but walk on the beach. You know, they say to eat well, eat fresh. They say to eat the rainbow. Eat the rainbow. Eat the rainbow of fresh food, which we'll kind of talk about a little later. Sleep, quality sleep. Boy, I'm sure we all can say that we need even more and better. It depends if you have kids, depends if you have family, just depends on yourself. You can't get enough rest. Stress, boy, stress takes a huge toll on just our body in different ways. Same kind of idea and activities. Laugh a lot. Laughing helps reduce stress. Take that walk. Do yoga. Meditate. You know, those are all types of things that's going to help. You know, alcohol, moderation. Any kind of those bad habits, you can just try to quit and walk away. Those things will kind of all at least help. It helps you feel good. When you eat well, you can always tell when you're eating fresh and clean and well, you just feel good. You know, I know when I don't eat well because I have my cheat days too, and I regret it. I feel it. And anyway, so boosting our immunity. You know, the first kind of course here, we're going to do 3, is Green Goddess Soup. So the idea behind this is kind of like the soup power smoothie. It's fully packed with great stuff. Now, I just want to keep in mind that all the recipes that I have, you know, recipe is really a guide. It's a roadmap. If there's ingredients that you don't like, if there's ingredients you can't find, you know, so many things are interchangeable. And really, it's when you go to the store and you start going shopping, and you're like, what really looks good? You know what? That's spinach. It's green. It's bright. It's talking to me. I want to eat it, as opposed to it being rotten, not looking good. So again, even when I go to the store, sometimes I don't even plan. I just look around and what's the greenest, the brightest, the freshest. And at the same time, this is the time of year as we're coming out of spring, going into summer. There's so many good things right now that we're going to feature that is in its prime for just quality, taste, sweetness, and price. Usually things when they're at their peak is at their lowest price. So anyway, to kind of get started on this soup here, I have a blender, and this is something that's, for this soup is probably required for this. I'm going to start out with the first ingredient being spinach. So this can either be any even kind of super green that you find at the store. It could be any blend, and even when I go to the supermarket, there are so many different blends of every kind of lettuce out there. Whatever looks good. So, so this is going to be spinach right here. Okay, the main ingredient is, and you'll see at the end, the color of this is going to be super bright. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to first add all my spinach. It's actually packed really nicely. Okay, pack that right in there. Okay. Next ingredient is whole peeled garlic. So what I recommend always is buying something fresh and whole that you can break down yourself. So obviously that would be whole garlic cloves. Yes, labor intensive that you peel, you got to deal with, but the freshness of it when you're buying it whole. Next best option is when you find it in the little plastic jars and they're already peeled for you. That's option number 2, which definitely is very convenient, and they do a much better job having a good shelf life. So that is actually a really good way. Third option, which I don't recommend, is kind of that chopped garlic in water that you see. That is just, I don't know when that garlic has been processed. It's just sitting in water, and there's nothing good about that product. I know it's shelf stable. It probably lasts for a really long time, but this is probably your best option. So we have fresh garlic, and garlic is one of those things, however you want to put in there. I mean, some people have literally like an immunity to garlic. I can put 90 cloves in here, they're like, it's never enough. And some people are very sensitive. You put 1 in there and they're like, I'm good. So again, as we follow these recipes, this will be kind of on your taste. If you don't like garlic, leave it out, okay? Ginger, okay? If you ever go to the store, this is whole ginger root. A lot of times you will find this in Asian cooking. So it's got this wonderful smell. What I want to show you is just kind of a fun way when you buy this whole to peel it. All you need is a spoon. A lot of people want to take their knife and start cutting it up, and you can easily do that. But very easily, as I just put this down the board, I have my spoon. It just peels so easily. And just for the amount that I need for this recipe, it's just going to be a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead, just cut this piece off, move to the side. Look how fast that was. Very easy. So that's kind of a cool technique. In this recipe, this is just a little bit of sliced ginger. Again, ginger, like a little bit goes a long way. So you do want to be careful. I particularly love fresh ginger. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it in there. We have 2 spices. The first one is cayenne pepper. Again, one of those things that you can control the heat or no heat at all. This recipe calls for very little. So it's just more of a back flavor. Okay, it's not even spicy. Okay. Next is turmeric. Okay. I know that Michelle is going to talk a little bit about turmeric. Kind of the broth that's going to make this actually a soup is vegetable stock. So what I would prefer, because I can control exactly what this is going to taste like, make your own vegetable stock. And that's kind of like just collecting your trimmings of onions and carrots and celery. And if you do cook at home a little bit, those are kind of trimmings that you can put into literally water with a little bit of peppercorns or any fresh herbs. just let that simmer for like an hour and a half, just to get a little flavor in the water. That's one way. Number two, you can always buy the vegetable stock in stores. Some are much better than others. I like to buy the ones that don't have any salt in them because I can control the salt when I'm cooking. I'm either adding in the blender or adding in the soup. So I actually like to buy it very neutral. So this is one that we made. Again, this is just aromatic vegetables. You can see it just kind of has just like a little off color. It just got a little bit of flavor. Okay, go ahead. We're going to add that in. Okay, just a pinch of salt. It's going to season this up just a little bit. Okay, kind of the last ingredient that's going to give it that body to it, coconut milk. Now, coconut milk kind of comes in a lot of different forms, and this one particularly is a low fat with no sugar. Now, it's important because they do come sweetened, and you just got to be really, really careful that you're using it in a certain recipe. If you want something a little bit more savory and you're adding an amount of sweetness to it, it's just not going to come out the way you want it to. Now, if you want the full fat version, great. I like it either way, but actually the low fat one, you can see the consistency. It's almost like yogurt, almost. This is what's going to add body to it. It's going to add a great flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and add this in. And lastly, to really brighten this dish up, at the very end is lemon juice. Okay, so yeah, just like anything else, buy fresh lemons, squeeze them yourself, as opposed to the bottled lemon juice. That bottled lemon juice, there's not one good thing I can say about it except it lasts forever in your fridge. So with any citrus, and I'm going to go through some other ones later, the way to kind of extract the most juice out of it, just want to lay it flat on your cutting board, okay? And you want to roll it. So I'm going to take the palm of my hand, put on this lemon. I'm just rolling it on the board. And what that's doing is the juice, I'm actually releasing it from the skin inside. I can actually feel it getting a little softer. I'm not whooshing it, but I'm just rolling it, okay? At that point, I'm just going to cut it right in half, okay? Now, obviously, there are seeds. So I have a strainer. This is something that you can do before. You can always squeeze the lemon in a strainer. Or a lot of people are like, I don't have a strainer. So they put it in a little cup and they start spooning out the seeds. You know, if you don't have one, that's okay too. I'm going to go ahead and just right here. This is just going to really make this thing super bright. Okay? All right. That's it. So what's important, before I start blending this up, this is the type of soup that this blender is actually going to warm the soup in the blender, actually, without adding any heat to it. I don't want to blend it too much because this bright green color is actually going to start to oxidize and almost heat a little bit, and it'll be a little darker off color. So what I'm looking for is just something really bright. I don't want to overmix it. So, you know, excuse the noise for a second, but you'll see what the color looks like when this thing transforms. That's it. And how fast is that soup? You know, this is something that I particularly love to eat this time of year, just because it's light. You know, outside it's 90 degrees right now. I know people kind of argue with me. They say, "Listen, I could eat French onion soup in 95-degree weather and drink a pint of coffee with it, and I'm good. I don't care. I love soup all year round." So do I. But this is one of those things that's really light. It's gonna make you feel really good after you eat it. So I'm gonna go ahead, and here is a little soup bowl here. And what I would do is I would let this soup at home just settle for a little bit. I just added a lot of air into it, so it is going to settle. So the air bubbles will come down. So I have one I literally just made right before. So I want you to see the color. Beautiful green. You know this is going to be good for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pour this right in the soup, right in the bowl. Okay, so this is kind of like the first part. Okay, so now comes, well, what else can I add to it? How else can I make this great and really good for me? So, you know, at this point, you can add any vegetable that you want. You can even add more green vegetables. So I went ahead and just cooked off and steamed a little bit of broccoli that I've cut super small. Again, you can add kind of whatever you want. So the soup is kind of smooth, and this broccoli and some of these other garnishes here are just going to add almost that little crunch to it. So I'm kind of, it's not just a pureed soup. So, so when I just plate a little bit of the broccoli right in the middle. Okay. That looks great. So off to the side. Okay. For a garnish, chia seeds. Okay. A lot of people put chia seeds like in their smoothies and stuff. This is something that you can actually eat raw. Your body does break it down, like as opposed to like flaxseed where your body doesn't. So just a little bit. This is just going to add a little bit of kind of a crunch as well. Okay, and to fortify a little bit more, I have some Greek yogurt, and this Greek yogurt here, I actually thinned out with a little bit of milk. And kind of the reason why I did that is also for presentation. You know, I could also just take a bunch of Greek yogurt and just slap it in the middle and do a nice. But you know, we do eat with our eyes, right? You know, when you sometimes get that really pretty bowl, really pretty food in front of you, you know, the first thing is you're like, wow, this is fresh, this is beautiful, this looks really good. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to take a little bit of this yogurt. I'm just going to go ahead and just drizzle it around. You know, obviously, if you're cooking for your family at home and you don't want to get this fancy, totally understanding. But this yogurt is actually going to add a little bit of fat as well and a little bit of flavor. So, you know, I don't know if we can get, you know, to actually really get a kind of a close up of what this looks like. So, no, I can't. It's perfect. So it's super bright. It's on this really white plate. And so, you know, this is something, again, you can have this all year round. And, you know, for me, I think a lot of people, when they think of like boosting immunity, it's like, well, you know, I eat this stuff only when I'm sick. Well, this kind of actually, you know, eating food like this and something very fresh and, you know, is something that is more of a preventative plan than it is like while you're sick. And just like with every ingredient that I'm going to use, you know, I do recommend buying as much organic as possible. Now, part of this conversation is, you know, what's wallet friendly versus, you know, what is good for you. Obviously, buying organic, you know, doing without the pesticides and different things and the preservatives that are sprayed on the food. You know, you're getting the most natural and the most nutrients, and you're getting the food in its kind of best raw form as possible. So anyway, so here is our soup that is going to kind of brighten your day. And, you know, I don't know if anyone has any questions. I might pass this over to Michelle. Michelle's going to kind of highlight some of the ingredients that I used. And thank you, Michelle.
Okay, so we're going to talk about some ingredients in the green goddess soup. Spinach. Spinach is an extremely nutrient-rich vegetable. It packs high amounts of carotenoids, vitamin C, vitamin K, folic acid, iron, and calcium. Spinach contains antioxidants, which fight the oxidative stress and helps reduce the damage it causes. Another very important ingredient Chef might use is garlic. Garlic is low in calories and rich in vitamin C, vitamin B6, and manganese. Garlic supplements help prevent and reduce the severity of common illness like the flu and common cold. It also contains antioxidants that protect against cell damage and aging. It may reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Garlic supplements also seem to reduce total and LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, particularly in those who have high cholesterol. HDL cholesterol and triglycerides do not seem to be affected. So garlic supplements helps to reduce the LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol. It does not have an effect on the HDL cholesterol, which is the good cholesterol. Ginger. Ginger is a popular spice. It is high in gingerol, which is a substance with powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. There are some studies showing ginger to be effective at reducing symptoms of osteoarthritis. It has also been shown to lower blood sugar levels and improve various heart disease risk factors in patients with type 2 diabetes. There is some evidence that ginger can lead to significant reductions in LDL cholesterol and blood triglyceride levels. Some studies suggest ginger can help protect the brain, protect against cancer, and fight infections. And the last ingredient we'll be covering is turmeric, which has anti-inflammatory properties. This was shown in studies where turmeric was associated with a decrease in symptoms of arthritis. And I'll hand it back to Chef.
Okay, everybody. As we're transitioning into our entree, so we're going to talk about salmon. We have this wonderful dish. You know, one of the reasons why I selected this particular dish is that we feature it on our, or elements of it, we feature on our patient menu. So, you know, obviously we are here, you know, to heal. You know, it's not just boosting immunity. You know, here we are in a hospital. I'm actually in our hospital catering kitchen right now, and you know, this is, you know, most, not all of our food we're meant to heal while people are here, as well as when they're discharged and going home, to kind of keep them on a wonderful plan to keep healing and keep, you know, those really good habits. And you know, that's really a mission, you know, of why we're here. So kind of featuring an item that you'll see that is so great on its own. A lot of people are surprised, like, I can't believe that's even on the menu. So, the recipe we're going to start with, so this salmon comes with a kale and carrot couscous salad. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to step off for 1 second and gather an ingredient. Okay. So first of all, couscous. You know, most people think that couscous is a grain. Kind of looks like grain. It's actually pasta. It does come, you know, in a more traditional way. And there's also Israeli couscous or Lebanese couscous, which is a much bigger kind of noodle. So it is pasta. You know, the great thing about this couscous, and I kind of brought the box just to show, you know, what we use, and we actually have this on our catering menu as well as serving as patients. The beauty of this also is it really takes 5 minutes to cook, and you don't have to really do anything except kind of add boiling water to couscous, wrap it, and go. So, so the recipe is, it's always 1-to-1. I got 1 cup of couscous, and I have some hot water. Now, this is hot water. It could be any broth that you want. If you want to use a stock, chicken stock, if you want to use, you know, depending on what you're pairing it with, it's up to you. So it's really, you know, equal parts liquid to couscous. So, you know, in this case, we're going to use just water because there's so many other ingredients in this. So here's the couscous. I'm putting it just in a mixing bowl. And this can be really in any container. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add equal parts. Just pouring it over the top. That's it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cover this with plastic wrap. So let this go off scene. Okay. So a couple of ingredients. I'm just going to bring a few out here. All right. Okay, so I have another. I'm going to put this all together in this mixing bowl here. Okay, put this off to the side. All right. So this has carrots, kale, mint, walnuts, peaches, goat cheese. It does have a dressing that's going to dress it as well. So kind of all, this is all very summary. But, I mean, peaches right now, we're finally, finally getting to the good part. I just went to the grocery store myself. Peaches are soft now. They're not like little hard balls. I know that they are, I can smell them. And I know it's hard, it's really tough right now if you go to the supermarket, which one you go to, and you're afraid to touch fruit right now with everything happening. I saw a lot of people that literally put on like the plastic bag and started touching every fruit that they could find. Because most people don't want to touch anything right now. So, so anyway, these just came from the store and they're perfect. So now peaches come, there's white peach, regular peach, Eastern peach, Georgia peach. Again, just like anything else, whatever looks good, whatever feels good, whatever looks good. So, as the couscous is in 5 minutes, we're just going to fluff it, which you'll see. So I'm going to start adding the ingredients here. So first ingredient I'll put in, I'm just going to go straight down the recipe so you can follow with me. Carrots, grated carrots. You know what? As long as it's a fresh carrot, it could be any size. You can dice it, you can slice it, you can grate it. However, just make sure it's fresh. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add fresh carrot to the bowl. Okay. Kale. Okay. So kale at the store nowadays definitely comes in a couple of forms. Comes in the really big leaves that you can really cook down. A lot of times I'll even add them to like a kale soup that I make. And they kind of have almost like this shredded kale now that's super popular because kale is super popular. And obviously Michelle's going to help me out with why it is the superfood. There's 50 reasons why we should all eat kale. Not everyone likes kale, but it is really good for you. So it's become acquired. I'll tell you in the beginning, I wasn't a huge fan, but the more I eat it and the more I put it with different things, I actually like it and I cook with it. So this shredded kale at the store, it comes clean. It comes like really small. It's actually more of a delicate kale. Sometimes kale has really tough leaves. So this you can eat raw and literally just mix it part of a salad. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add this in. Okay. I got a little bit of kale. So mint. Mint is one of those things that you could probably smell in the supermarket if they had it opened like a mile away. I mean, if you have mints and you buy some, you're like, you know what? I use like this much in my recipe. Now I have all of this left over. What do I do with it? I can't think of a better way to throw some in my lemonade. Any drink, it's definitely going to just brighten it up. So, I actually have made like mint oil and vinegars before. So I'm actually, I'll never waste this. And, everyone in this room here, there's a few people behind this camera can definitely smell it's very just bouquet. So, mint, and as we get into basil, I want to kind of show you a way to cut it, because mint, if you cut it kind of the wrong way, believe it or not, there's kind of more of a wrong way, not so much from the flavor, but when it comes to presentation. So if you kind of cut it and just sit there with your knife and just chop it, you're going to break down the cell walls, and they are actually going to start oxidizing and turning almost brown right away. So to keep this mint super bright and green, you're going to go ahead, take one leaf, put it on top of the other, on top of the other, I know, on top of the other, on top of the other. Okay, so you get the points. And literally, I'm going to roll it up. So I have this, it might be hard to see. I'll put this flush on the board with my knife. I'm just going to run my knife really thin. So these are just thin, kind of bright, very green strips. And just cutting it that one way once, as opposed to chopping it, this is going to stay green. If you chop too much, you're like, God, I don't know what to do. You can always put it in a container. You could take like a paper towel at home, just put a little water on it, really get the water out, and you could literally put that paper towel right on top of your mint or your basil or your fresh herb, and at least the cut version of it will last at least another day or two in the refrigerator. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add this mint. Okay. And again, you can add as much or as little as you like. Okay. Walnuts. I love walnuts. You know, and this is interchangeable. You want to add your favorite. You like almonds, you like pistachios. Michelle is from Louisiana, and I'm from New York, and we have this pecan conversation all the time, and it's kind of a running joke in this department. Either one, however you say it, it's still a great substitute. I picked the walnut. I particularly love it, and so I'm going to go ahead. And with walnuts, I bought these already chopped. You know, if you're really bold and you want to start cracking walnuts with a nutcracker and do it that way. But I just buy these in bite-sized pieces. It just makes it really convenient. But in the whole form, it is less expensive. It's just a little bit more later. I'm going to go ahead and add the walnuts. Okay? So we talked about peaches a little bit earlier. Okay? So, you know, I mean, there's a couple ways to cut the peach here. There's a pit right in the middle. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to cut around this pit. I can actually feel it with my knife, just right around it. Off to the side, and when I look at it, you know, this peach it's definitely ripe. You know, if I'm gonna serve it today, like right at this minute, there's a couple parts that are a little bit overripe. I can just put it off to the side, no big deal. This is the type of salad, and as we'll talk about the salsa in a little while, that actually is better sitting for one day. So if you're making this with me in the moment, I'm not going to say it's not delicious right now, but if it actually sits in your fridge, all these flavors are going to spend one day kind of marrying together, especially with the dressing, and you're going to get a more kind of harmonious flavor the next day. So this is one of those things. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to dice this. So everything is kind of small. Okay. I'll just cut one more piece. So here we are. Well, I think 5 minutes have kind of passed. So what I would like to do is I'm going to go ahead and fluff this couscous. So right, it was just off to the side. Okay, so I'm going to, I covered it with plastic wrap. Okay, haven't touched it. It was just boiling water and couscous. Okay, go ahead, I'm going to unwrap it. Okay. You can take a fork, take a backward spoon, and I'm literally, you can see this here, it's just fluffy. Believe it or not, this is, you know, for especially cooking from home. If you have a big family, or you don't have the time, you know, a lot of times it's just about convenience. I may not have 2 hours to cook every day. No one really does. So this could be something, wow, I can just throw this in 5 minutes, throw a couple of vegetables or my choice of stuff, and all of a sudden I do have a meal. So this couscous right here, what you can do is you can let it cool at this point. I'm going to pretend that this is nice and cold. I put it off to the side. Okay, so it's kind of even room temperature. Doesn't have to be refrigerator cold, but room temperature. I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to add it directly into my vegetables. Okay, just going to mix it around. Okay. As you can see, it's just beautiful color. Okay. So what this needs is a dressing. Okay. It's a very simple dressing. It's gonna be olive oil, honey, lemon, salt, black pepper, and garlic. So some of the items in here, you have like peaches that are sweet. You know, the kale kind of has this almost slightly bitter taste to it, but in a good way. And as you can see, everything is just super bright. So I know that this is going to be really good for me, super healthy. And again, you know, this is something that we serve to our patients here. So I'm going to just put this aside for 1 second. Okay. So for this dressing, I'm going to put it together really quickly. Okay, so this is the kind of dressing you can actually just add everything all together. Most times, pretty classically, you might add vinegar and any flavorings, then you kind of drizzle in oil at the end. This is just the easy. You can just actually add it all together. You don't have to worry about it. You can just even mix it with a spoon. You don't have to put it in mason jars and shake it like crazy. This is actually pretty simple because you're going to keep mixing it in the couscous salad, and it's definitely going to be great. So, and I'm just going to add it into this cup here. I have a little bit of oil. I have a little bit of honey. Okay, the honey is going to add a little back sweetness to this. Again, with my yes, I do it every time. Rub in the lemon. Okay. So I've got my strainer. Okay. Just a little bit of juice in there. Okay. I'm going to season this. I particularly like my food seasoned and salted. With a little bit of salt. Again, if you can't have salt for any reason, you can leave it out. A little bit of black pepper. Okay. Garlic powder. This is optional. You know, it can just be just as is. Would be great. So I'm just going to go ahead really quickly. Just mixing it around, not going crazy. Just pour it right over. Okay. That's really it. So that's going to be, I'm just going to leave this off to the side. Okay. And this will be part of our plate when we actually finish salmon. Okay. So Michelle, I don't know, you know, this, oh wait, I forgot one more thing. So while this is cool, the last thing I'm going to add is goat cheese. Goat cheese. Again, cheese of choice. You know, goat cheese for me, it's kind of tangy. It's kind of mild as well, but with kind of sweetness in here, the tanginess and the fat of the cheese actually kind of cuts through some of the honey and some of the peach flavor. So it's a really, really nice balance. And then, you know, kind of just gets accentuated by the kale and carrot. So, you know, you're getting texture. You know, food is also texture. Everything can't be soft. Everything can't be hard. You got to have kind of a balance of it all. So I'm going to go ahead, just a little bit of cheese. And I'm just going to let this sit off to the side. Okay. I'll go with Michelle's going to tell us why this salad is just so good.
Okay, let's talk about the kale and carrot couscous salad. One of the ingredients that Chef Mike used was carrots. Carrots are an excellent source of vitamin A in the form of beta carotene. They are also a good source of several B vitamins, as well as vitamin K and potassium. Eating them is linked to a reduced risk of cancer and heart disease, as well as improved eye health. Another ingredient Chef Mike used was kale. Kale is very high in nutrients and low in calories, making it one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. Many powerful antioxidants are found in kale. It is extremely high in vitamin C, which is an antioxidant that has many important roles in the body. A single cup of raw kale actually contains more vitamin C than an orange. So that's a really neat fact, that a single cup of raw kale actually contains more vitamin C than an orange. Kale contains substances that lower cholesterol levels in the body. It is also very high in beta carotene, which we mentioned with the carrots. Kale is also very high in beta carotene, which is an antioxidant that the body can turn into vitamin A. There are many important minerals in kale, which include calcium, potassium, and magnesium. And the last ingredient we are going to speak about in this recipe is walnuts. Walnuts are an excellent source of antioxidants that can help fight oxidative damage in your body, including damage due to bad LDL cholesterol. They are a good source of the plant form of omega-3 fatty acids, which may help reduce heart disease risk. Several plant compounds and nutrients in walnuts may help decrease inflammation, which is a key culprit in many chronic diseases. Some studies suggest that eating 1 ounce of nuts daily, including walnuts, as part of a heart-healthy diet may improve blood pressure. Hey, Chef, we're going to turn it back over to you.
Yes, we are. Yes. Okay, welcome back. I hope that questions are just popping in your head here. This next dish is actually an exact dish that we do serve to our patients. Literally, if you look at the lineup here, I don't know if you can see it all in camera, but maybe you can swing to it just for a second. We have all of these beautiful, bright vegetables. So, pineapple and mango salsa. I can't think of anything more summery, just more delicious looking right now, light. And as we do the actual salmon in a little bit, salmon, mango, these flavors are amazing. I spent, like I mentioned, like almost 20 years in Miami. And this was the time of year where, mangoes are peaking, really, right now. So I had a friend who had an 80-year-old mango tree, and probably about 50 feet high, and it produced so much fruit that obviously she couldn't eat it all. She would fight the squirrels trying to get the right ones that dropped to the floor, and literally she would give me and leave right on the front of my door handle plastic bags filled of the sweetest mangoes. Now, that was Florida. The cool thing is, which I didn't know until I actually lived there, there's 200 varieties of mangoes. There's actually a place down there that grows them all from heritage seed and plants. And you can actually tour it. It's a lot of mango information, but I guess the point is, for me growing up in New York and in the New York City area, sure, you can find mango, but I kind of fell in love with a lot of the tropical fruits down there. So, this kind of salsa is one of those things that is interchangeable. You don't like mangoes, you don't like pineapple, use kind of your favorite fruit. Maybe, papaya would work great right now. Really anything. People love kiwi. Anyway, so here we are. We'll start off, I'm going to go in order. Pineapple. So I had another friend that I worked with. He was from Hawaii, from the island of Oahu. And when I was much younger, he said, how do you know when a pineapple's ripe? You're at the store. I'm like, I don't know. It's soft. It kind of smells like pineapple. It smells good. Kind of look at the bottom. It doesn't look moldy. It wasn't just picked because it's coming from far away. But he's like, there is one way that his family, after many generations, which I found out of actually growing them, showed me. So I kind of been doing that at the store myself. So sure, you want to feel it. Okay, kind of soft. Sometimes if you smell it, you're like, wow, that really smells like pineapple. Sometimes it might even be almost to the point of overripe. So but what he taught me was, if you take this top leaf, and if you with no effort can pull out the top leaf, then it's ripe. And he just started with, not even pulling. So I'm like, wow. And as I started cutting into it, it was like at a perfect stage. So it wasn't hard. So I just wanted to show you that, and just have, that kind of a tip. Because when you're staring at the supermarket, you're like, I remember Chef talking about pineapples, and they're $2.99 right now. Well, is it $2.99 because they're all rotting? They want us to buy it, or maybe there's a good one in there. Think of that. Okay. So, cutting a pineapple. All right. So, number one, all these fruit are in the whole form. Obviously, it takes longer to cut. Every one of these items, I'm sure you've gone to the store, you can buy everything cut now. There's a section you can buy pineapple chunks or even different sizes of them. There's mango, you can buy onions. So you can actually pretty much buy these individually. A little bit more expensive because they do the work and the labor of cutting it. You can actually put that all together, really mix it yourself. But while we're here, and this is a demonstration, it wouldn't be so much fun if I showed you already cut stuff, at least how to cut this. Number one, sharp knife. All I ask is that you have one sharp knife, just one. Where most people, I think, are at home are afraid to cut is because they bought a knife, a cheap knife, and the first day it was super sharp. And then after that, it started getting a little dull, and then more dull, and they have no experience to actually sharpen it at all. And now it's so dull that you probably eat their Frosted Flakes with it. It's so almost like a spoon. And what that does for a lot of people, it makes them afraid to cut because all of a sudden they're making a sandwich and they're trying to cut a tomato. And it's like, God, I got this new knife. I can't even go through the skin. So you put more pressure, and that putting more pressure actually can lead to you slipping. And that's where people mostly cut themselves. They don't cut themselves on sharp knives. Sharp knives are very precise. Where I put the knife is where it's going to cut. It's when it's dull when we cut ourselves. Just so I can give you my thought. Hey, I've cut myself with a sharp knife too. It's not fun. But anyway, so with a pineapple here, I'm just going to take off the top and not do anything with that. And for this intents and purpose here, I'm just going to use this piece. As you can see, it's perfectly right. Okay, this right here I can wrap up, put in my fridge, or I can cut the whole thing if I want. Just cut them into big chunks. It's hot out, it's warm out, and I just have a bunch of cut pineapple in my fridge, so why not? But for this recipe here, I'm going to keep this off to the side. So cutting the pineapple right here, I'm just going to take a little bit off. I wanted to show you that it has these little brown spots in them, that they're called eyes. So cut them all off. They could be a little bit sharp if you bite into them. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to go around. Okay. So also, what's important about this is not so much how beautiful your knife skills are, or how nicely you want to show off. You want to show off if you're doing a little party, you want to show off to your guests how well you can cut. Okay. But it's really, this particular salad and salsa is about everything just cut small. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be small. Pineapple has that little core in the middle, as we all know, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut right around it. Okay, keep that off to the side. All right. Again, I'm going to cut small pieces, so I'm going to go ahead. All right, so. Okay. Go ahead and just cut a couple more pieces. I'm going to move on to some other fruit. Okay. All right, so that's our pineapple. Okay. This off the side. Okay. Mango. I spoke a lot about mango already, so how do you cut this? Mango is has this pit right in the middle, kind of runs this way right here. It's I look at it. So let me just quickly. There's a lot of different ways to actually cut this. I've been just taught here. You can just do the top and bottom. Go ahead and just stand it up. It's very important if you're doing any of these types of fruits that you have a steady kind of bottom. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to take the skin off. Okay. You can use a peeler, a vegetable peeler. This is you don't necessarily have to use a knife. Okay. Go ahead. So this pit's right in the middle. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to cut one off this way. This off the side. Okay. So just like with the pineapple. Perfect. All right, let's move on to onion. Just kind of clean my table a little bit as I go. Okay. All right, so onion here. All right. All onions I've been taught to kind of cut the same. A little bit of the root side, a little bit of the back. Again, we'll stand it up nice and firm and flat. I'm going to cut this in half. Keep this off to the side for another use. Okay. Go ahead and peel it. Okay. And again, this can be any kind of onion. Sometimes a real sweet Vidalia onion also works really well. Those times where you are crying and cutting onions, which we all do, sometimes that's due to the onion being really old. If you find that sometimes keeping it in the fridge as opposed to keeping it on the counter also will help, because of the vapors, obviously. We've all cried at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this flat here. Couple slices going this way. We'll go once just for here for this particular one. We'll hold it together. Again, I just want to cut small. I think most people are like, you know what, I'll just buy that onion already cut. So I'm going to go ahead and add onion to that. Okay. Off to the side. Pepper. A lot of ways to cut a pepper. I think the only thing I'll mention about a pepper is that use the whole thing as much as you can. So I was taught to take the top off, the bottom off, stand it up, and make one big incision. I can keep my knife flat, and in one shot, it's already done. So some people are like, wow, that's really fast. Thanks for teaching me that technique. So even these little pieces that kind of fall off, use them. Nothing wrong with them. I'm just going to keep them to the side. So I'm going to go ahead. Okay. Everything is cut the same size, as you're noticing. That's it. With a little salad like this, I just feel like to have everything cut small, so you get one bite, you kind of get all the ingredients, as opposed to everything cut an inch, and all you're eating is either one piece of mango or one piece of pineapple. You're gonna get everything in one bite. Okay. Jalapeno. It's up to you. Jalapeno. It could be another pepper. You're brave and you want to go way hotter. Those options out there. I don't have to tell you. So what I will say is, most people think that the actual green part of this jalapeno is the spiciest. And come to find out, where a lot of people don't know, is inside the seeds and the white inside under the seeds, which is called the pith, is where all the kind of the oils are. That is what's actually spicy. So you can either throw it in with the seeds, or you can just cut it out. I'm going to go ahead just for this intensive purposes. Again, I might cut the jalapeno just a little smaller than the rest. The jalapeno really in this recipe, we use so little, obviously, since we're serving this to patients, there's so little in there. It's actually, we're just getting the jalapeno flavor from the green part of it, not getting anything really from the seeds or anything too spicy. Limes, there I go, roll on my fruit again. Okay, very juicy. All right, so go ahead. Fresh lime juice again, just like lemon juice in a bottle. Lime juice in the bottle is no better. Cilantro, this is the last ingredient here. Cilantro is one of those things that I feel like people love it or hate it. I don't think there's any middle. Some people can eat this by the carload, and some people think it tastes like dish soap. I mean, people are just all over the place with it. You can actually go ahead and use part of the stem. You don't have to pick off every leaf. The whole thing tastes good. And just for this, I'm just going to chop it just kind of small. I don't have to get crazy with it. Okay. So now, just like the carrot and couscous salad that we just did, this again is going to sit really well for just one night and serve it the next day. Okay. Just a little bit of salt. Okay. Nice and fresh, nice and colorful. So between the kale and this right here, I mean, this is when I just talked about eating the rainbow. I think we actually added a few more colors to this rainbow. So anyway, so I'm going to kind of shift it to Michelle for a second, and let's talk about some of these ingredients we just used.
Okay, Chef Mike, some immune boosting ingredients in the pineapple mango salsa. Pineapple. Pineapple is a popular fruit that is packed with nutrients, antioxidants, and other helpful compounds, such as enzymes that can fight inflammation and disease. It is low in calories with an impressive nutrient profile. It provides 131% daily recommended value of vitamin C. And vitamin C helps us with our immune system, and it aids with the absorption of iron from the diet. Pineapple also provides 76% of the recommended daily value of manganese, which is important for a healthy metabolism, and it also has antioxidant properties. Pineapple also contains digestive enzymes called bromelain. Pineapples have anti-inflammatory properties that may boost the immune system. Another ingredient Chef Mike used was mangoes. Mango and its nutrients have been linked to many health benefits, such as improved immunity and digestive health. In 1 cup, mangoes provide nearly 70% of the recommended daily value for vitamin C. Mango is a good source of folate, several B vitamins, as well as vitamins A, C, K, and E, all of which boost immunity. It also has digestive enzymes, water, and dietary fiber that aid in digestive health. And the last ingredient we're going to talk about is, in this recipe, is red pepper. Red peppers are low in calorie and rich in vitamin C and other antioxidants, making them an excellent addition to a healthy diet. Red peppers are also high in vitamin C, with one providing up to 169% of the daily value. That was an interesting fact that we found out about red bell peppers, is that it has 169% of the RDA for vitamin C. Other vitamins and minerals in bell peppers include vitamin K, vitamin A, folate, and potassium. They also contain many healthy antioxidants. For example, capsaicin, which is responsible for its red color. Do we have any questions at this point? All right, we're gonna shift it back over to Chef Mike.
All right.
Hey, everybody. I'm getting hungry. Okay, so to kind of round out these beautiful salads and salsas is salmon. So quickly about salmon. Well, first of all, I think it's super popular, mainly because of the omega-3 fatty acids that a lot of people know and kind of heard about, that it's actually good for me. Salmon is something that we serve in our patient menu. I'm actually going to prepare it exactly as we serve it, which I would certainly eat at home. Salmon itself, again, I keep talking about going to the store, and this is one of those things that if we're going to spend a little money on something, this might be the center item. I'm sure. I was just talking to our director about Whole Foods. She loves Whole Foods. I love Whole Foods. When you go there, there's like 5 or 6 different kinds of salmons. You have salmon that is wild caught in Alaska from one little specific area that is beautiful, or someone went a trip and they went salmon fishing and it was the best sockeye salmon they've had in the world, probably. And then, a lot of times when I shop for it, I do see fresh, previously frozen. I see fresh, color added. Wild versus farm raised, is always kind of a question. Wild is better for you. It's for every reason in the book. But farm raised, you have to be careful because some areas have much better practices than others. And the color added, a lot of times, the way that they are actually breeding these farm-raised salmons, that they're actually white flesh. They're actually kind of pumping in orange to make it look like salmon. So, obviously having it in its wild form, that is not, it's not inexpensive. But, if you ever had that kind of piece of fish, you're like, oh, that's what it's supposed to taste like. If you don't like salmon, choose your favorite fish. This particular dish will work with anything that you like, anything that's available, anything that you want. All I ask is that it's fresh. You can't really recreate with any frozen fish or fresh frozen or used to be frozen. I can't believe it's not frozen. However they want to advertise it, it's just not the same. So that's enough about salmon. I'm going to keep the salmon off to the side. We're going to do a little bit of an herb crust. Okay, I have some fresh herbs. I'm just going to kind of go through quickly. Basil. I think we all know basil. To me, kind of basil comes in a lot of different ways, but ultimately it almost has like that black licorice flavor. I mean, sure, it's in our pasta. It's very much an Italian food, but I think a lot of people actually grow basil. If you go to like a Home Depot or Lowe's, or is that kind of here, and you're like, I love gardening, you're usually going to usually going to pick up some basil. So really quickly, just like mince, I have these big pieces of basil laid out one on top of another, just to keep them nice and bright and clean. Okay, go ahead and roll them up. Great. Okay, I'm going to put this on a plate. Okay, chives. What I love about chives, chives are part of the onion family, and it's just going to add this kind of back underneath. It's just like a very mild onion. And again, this is something that I'm going to cut particularly small. I don't want a huge, long piece of that on my fish. That's kind of hard to eat. So this is something that really quickly you can just mince up. Okay. So while I'm kind of cutting these herbs right now, the idea is that I'm going to dust the salmon into these herbs and crust them. And we're going to do just a quick technique of actually searing this in a pan. So parsley, Italian parsley. The only thing I'll say about parsley is that it comes in two ways. The Italian version is a lot more edible than the kind of curly version. Curly version probably gets a bad rap for being just a garnish. To me, it honestly tastes just like lawnmower trimmings. I honestly can't eat it personally. But Italian parsley has just great kind of a fresh flavor. Okay, so here are all my herbs, my chives. Everything is here all together. I have a little burner over here, a little saute pan. I'm going to add a little bit of oil to it. Okay, so. And this is something that, here I am in the middle of a kitchen here. If you want to be outside because it's nice outside and you want to grill this, please go ahead. So simply here's my piece of salmon. I always want to kind of make it taste good. The first layer is just a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. I'm going to add kind of those seasonings first. I'm going to take the salmon with that side I just salt and peppered. Straight down into my herbs. Just do a little bit of light pressing. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. So you see that the salmon is kind of really nicely herb crusted. Just clean up here for a second. Okay, so while this is getting hot, okay, so I want to go ahead, I want to put this face down, or herb side down in the pan. You almost hear that sizzling a little bit. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay. You want to leave it alone. It's so tempting right now for me to just start playing with the saute pan or moving the fish around. It is super tempting. When you put this fish in, or anything, of course, you want to get this oil. You want to hear it sizzling. Now, I'm not going to touch this. What I'm going to look for is, I'm going to look for the sides, which is a little hard for you to see. I'm going to look for just the sides to get golden brown. That means that the herbs itself have also for about 8 minutes. This side, roughly about 6 hours. I've been playing with this. It's tempting. And I know a lot of people, even on the grill at home, they want to start touching it, and if it sticks on the grill, and then you're like, what happens? All right? So here we are. So in the meantime, while that's finishing, I have a side. I have a plate. So now we want to present this. All right? So while this fish is finishing, so now that my salad has been early on and getting my way forward, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take this almost upside down to you. Okay. So I'm going to give it a little bit around. So you have just sauce in your house. My fire alarm always goes off. All right. So I'm going to kind of put this a little closer. There you are. So you can see the color gold and brown, and I can see a little bit of the green herb, okay? So now that I flip it over, it's now going in my oven. That's it. It's in the oven. Okay, so while that's cooking, I have my seafood salad here. Okay. Fantastic. Keep it going. And then, wow, the 8 minutes are up. Boy, time is flying, isn't it? So here's my piece of salmon, perfectly cooked. Okay. Okay, keep it off to the side. Okay. Now I have that mango pineapple salsa. Again, this just could be, I made it that morning, I made it the night before. It is ready to go. So I'm just going to go ahead. It's cut nice and small. Okay, and what I'm doing is there's even a little bit of juice on the bottom. The juice on the bottom is actually even acting like a little bit of a sauce. I don't want to put too much on top of the fish. I want this to be kind of crispy and very herb-like. So here's my plate. Look at those beautiful colors. All right, so we got the kale carrot salad, pineapple mango salsa, beautiful herb crusted salmon. This is a light summer meal. I could literally sit in my backyard, just enjoy the weather and the outdoors. And so there you are. So Michelle, you got to tell us all about why this is good.
Okay, thanks, Chef. So let's talk about salmon. It's a very good immune boosting food. So salmon is one of the best sources of long chain omega fatty acids. A 3.5 ounce portion, which if you would want to visualize it, 3 to 4 ounces is about the size of a deck of cards or the palm of your hand without your fingers. But a 3.5 ounce portion of salmon has 2.3 grams of long-chain omega-3 fatty acids. It's suggested that healthy adults get a minimum of 250 to 500 milligrams per day. So just to reference that again, salmon has 2.3 grams, and the recommendation is for 250 to 500 milligrams per day, So salmon is a very rich source of long-chain omega-3 fatty acids. It also provides 22 to 25 grams of protein per 3.5 ounce serving. It is an excellent source of B vitamins, which are needed for energy production, controlling inflammation, and protecting heart and brain health. A serving of salmon provides 59 to 67% of the recommended daily intake of selenium, which is a mineral involved in protecting bone health, improving thyroid function, and reducing the risk of cancer. Consuming salmon can help protect against heart disease by increasing levels of omega-3 fatty acids. So salmon is a very good fish to eat, very high in the omega-3 fatty acids, which gives us a tremendous amount of health benefits. Do we have any questions? Not seeing any questions?
No questions yet.
No questions yet?
Introduce a Q&A feature. Oh, here's one.
Hi, our family doesn't like the strong taste of fish. We bought sockeye frozen, wild caught, and it was very strong. Someone said sockeye is very strong. Is that true? Are there milder salmon varieties? How do I ensure I don't overcook? Want to take that one, Chef?
You sure?
Yeah.
No. Wild salmon, I mean, salmon in general, is what it is. It's a strong smelling, it is a stronger smelling fish than your typical whitefish. Again, even though that it's sockeye versus a regular Atlantic salmon or another variety, certainly not to overcook it. You know, it's hard. You know, cooking a frozen fish, I'm just not a fan. I'd rather it always be fresh. But you're not going to get away from that species of fish being a little bit stronger than some of the Atlantic varieties that we have here. So I hope that answers your question. Because some people are put off by the smell of it. Okay, well listen, we're gonna jump right into dessert. Popsicles. We're all big kids. We all have some of us have families and kids. So you know, it's kind of like a quick kind of famous story. Popsicles were developed by a 10-year-old kid. One day, back like in the 1920s, he had a cup of like a sugary soda. He had some water in it. He left his stick, put it outside. It was in San Francisco in the winter. Went out the next day. His stick was frozen with his soda. When he had kids, they said, you know, you have to try Popsicles. So now you kind of see where I got the name from. What's cool about this, you know, this is fresh fruits, and you know, I just want to show you very, very quickly. Again, brought out my blender. Popsicles is just fun. You know, it's like ice cream. I mean, it's very refreshing. We're doing a pineapple, ginger, orange, lemon, honey. So really quick, I have some pineapple juice. Putting it into the blender here. Okay. Yes, there goes Chef again. Rolling some oranges, and you know, has to be fresh squeezed. So it's okay if there's a little pulp in there. If you want to strain it out, that's okay too. But we want to go ahead and make sure that this is definitely fresh. You're going to taste the difference at the end of the day. Okay. So we talked about ginger earlier and how we peeled it with a spoon. Kind of a very cool thing, a very fancy gadget. It's called a microplane. But you can use a grater, and if you use a grater and just kind of grate the ginger into it. This so happens to almost make like a paste. So I'm going to go ahead and just add ginger. Now this is the kind of thing that, you know, little or a lot. Ginger again is very strong. Lemon. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I'm going to go ahead, add a little bit of fresh lemon. At the end, it's going to be some honey. Okay. The real popsicles to be sweet. Okay. Go ahead, let this up. That's it. You don't even want to add too much air into it. So, very fancy popsicles here. Love the color. So, all these molds are about the same. They do have these kind of sticks in here. So what you're going to do is whatever mixture you want, again, interchangeable. You don't like pineapple, you don't like anything. I just want to basically just go through and show you how easy popsicles are. So I'm going to fill up my little compartments here all the way up. Okay. Let's keep those 3 for now. Save a little time. So go ahead. Just close that. Close that. That to the side. Okay, how hard is that? Okay, so so I made some previously, and what I recommend, because you know, this is live, so this is happening right now. You know, the timing of it to just have me take this out of the freezer. You know, you want to. If possible, if it's really frozen, you want to put it in some warm water for a second. a little funny shape, but you see the bright color of it? So I guess I'm just gonna go for it. Wow, that's good. You know what, actually this kitchen that we're working out of, it's very small and it's very hot. So you know, I'm gonna be giving it to everyone behind this camera. I wish this was live, because I would have made 100 of these. Everyone would have had a popsicle. We'll have to do that next time. But anyway, so I just kind of wanted to, you know, on this great note here, just say, you know, thank you. And, you know, Michelle's going to kind of run through a couple of these ingredients really quickly while I eat a popsicle.
Okay, thanks, Chef Mike. Some immune-boosting ingredients in the citrus and ginger popsicles. Orange juice. Orange juice is high in many nutrients, including vitamin C, folate, and potassium. It is high in antioxidants. Orange juice may help increase levels of good HDL cholesterol and decrease total and bad LDL cholesterol, as well as diastolic blood pressure. One thing that I want to say about orange juice is if you are diabetic, be careful with any juice and realize that the serving size of juice is 4 ounces if you're a diabetic. So just keep that in mind if you have that health condition. Lemon juice. Lemons are high in heart-healthy vitamin C and several beneficial plant compounds that may lower cholesterol. They contain vitamin C and citric acid, which help you absorb iron from plants. So anytime you have a food that is a source of iron, vitamin C helps your body absorb the iron from the food. So that's a good point to keep in mind.
Awesome. All right, we have a question. So, Chef, I'm going to put it back on you just so I can find the question.
Still eating.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And, oh, it wasn't a question. It was just a nice word of gratitude for everyone, including Mike, Chef, and Michelle. Thank you for your comments. And this is Kate. As we close off, I'd just like to remind you that there was a link to a online evaluation that will take just about 3 minutes. So we ask you to kindly check your email. It was sent this afternoon about 2:30. You could kindly complete that. It helps us continuously improve our programming. We hope to find you back here again with more dishes and more science and art of cooking and eating and staying well, staying healthy, and doing well for your families. So thank you, everybody, and have a great evening.